I guess I'm really shocked right now at the callousness that I hear from a lot of the administration, the comments earlier about, how this is affecting everyday people. I'm someone who is retired. I'm going to have to take my required minimum distributions out of my IRAs that I have saved my entire life to do that and pay for them, get a college fund for my kids. And I'm seeing years of the income that my financial advisor and I have, looked at just absolutely disappear. And I don't think that they're really understanding how everyday people, Adam, you're saying you have years to make that up. In 2 or 3 years, I'm going to have to be unwinding everything. I don't have years. I had years in 2008, but not now. And then again, to talk about people losing their jobs. Today, my son found out that the company he works for is moving from North Carolina to South Carolina. So he's losing his job. There's a lot of that going on. And I'm just struck by the callousness.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say sorry about your situation as well. And I think this goes back to my main criticism I said earlier. I was basically saying, even if you can understand the end goal and see what his end vision is, it's still kind of odd that it's so... The disparity between what he campaigned on, which was instant economic prosperity, versus people struggling now, like people genuinely struggling and seeing their 401k vanish. But yeah, I think Susan's critique is one that I've heard a lot. If you go line by line through the actual reciprocal tariffs that Trump placed, a lot of them really don't make sense. People were making penguin memes, like Trump tariffed the penguins, but he genuinely did tariff some places where there was nobody. So this, again, I kept saying, I understand the end goal, but you can't come in with a hammer and just have blanket tariffs and have this extreme radical view. And I do agree with the fact that not all American products are desired. So again, if we're gonna try to identify a sick patient, let's be precise with the prescription.
It's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball, and I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country. And you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
This is a patient that was very sick. We really inherited a terrible economy, as you know, with a lot of problems, including loss of manufacturing and plants closed up all over the country. We've lost 90,000 plants since NAFTA, if you think of that. 90,000. It's not even believable. And about 6 million jobs. And so it was a sick patient. It went through an operation on Liberation Day. And it's going to be a booming country. A very booming country. It's going to be amazing, actually. And we see it because we have trillions of dollars committed to come in.
Adam, what's your view of the prospects that the president's theory of the case on tariffs is correct?
So just to address that last clip, the idea that there's a patient that's sick, I think if we run with that analogy, usually when there's a sick patient, you want a precise diagnosis from a doctor. If I have a tumor, you want to precisely know where it is and how you can remove it. But Trump's tariffs were not really precise or targeted. I mean, they were kind of inherently like across the board, save a few countries, right? So if you're going to try to diagnose a problem, maybe be a little bit more precise with the prescription that you give. But I mean, just to be 100% candid about how I personally feel, I'm still in my 20s, so compound interest works in my favor. So if I want to throw some money in the stock market, a 5% dip is not the biggest deal. Honestly, if the market's down for the next 8 months, I'm in my 20s. It's fine. Compound interest is working in my favor. But what you said earlier, the real lives of real people matter at the end of the day. And I think a few things bother me. And I want to get your opinion on this, Mark, and see if we can find some middle ground on this.
Yes, sir.
A few things bother me with Trump's tariffs. Let's start with these two. Number one, he seems to have kind of an extreme view on trade that goes beyond just like we need to be treated fairly. We need to rebalance the our trade. He seems to actually think trade is a zero-sum game. I was listening to Ben Shapiro earlier. I do like listening to Ben Shapiro, even though I'm a lib. And he had the same criticism. He was like, Trump views trade as a zero-sum game when it can be mutually beneficial. And right now it seems like, even though I understand what he's trying to do with reshoring manufacturing, rebalancing trade, he's not doing it in the most efficient way. And then my second problem is that we should all be able to agree he did kind of run on lowering prices on day one. I can probably find a Truth Social post of him saying on day one prices will be lower. And he also had to misrepresent what tariffs were on the campaign trail. Now, I was wondering, like, this dude has to know what tariffs are. Why is he saying that other countries pay it? I didn't get it. I get what he's doing, but
he's the same guy who said Mexico would pay for the wall. So
yeah, I do get it. I understand it for sure. And then you know what is really smart? It's the art of misdirection, because then we're arguing about the definition of tariffs and not the actual impact, in the same way that we're arguing about, is Mexico going to pay for it, and not the feasibility of the wall. But to go back to what I was saying, it seems like he had to sell that he was going to lower prices on day one, and now we're seeing things a little bit differently. And all this is to say, just to wrap it up, I understand his end goal. I think a lot of people try to misrepresent and say, hey, Trump's tariffs are completely and utterly incoherent. I understand the concept of reshoring manufacturing, but to that I'd say you should maybe leave a little bit of a transition period for manufacturers to import products, to get plants up and hire people. Yeah.
What do you think of the concept of the U.S. being, that Trump says that we're being untreated unfairly, that the rules of the game are slanted against the United States, tariff and non-tariff barriers? Do you agree with that analysis, that for decades other countries have had rules of trade that favored them over the United States? Do you agree with that?
Honestly, if I were to grant that analysis, it still seems to work out in our favor. The stock market has been hitting all-time highs. We had a recession in 2008, and we're still, we recovered. And here, I don't know why I keep quoting Ben Shapiro, but he made me think about this in last night's episode. He was like, dude, the economy is doing great. Even if we are getting ripped off, right now, the U.S. economy is still booming. The idea that since 1980, we've been getting ripped off, treated unfairly, the average worker is struggling. I mean, I think since 1980, we've seen a lot of prosperity and growth and relative peace. And then the idea that we have to start a trade war to fix these imbalances, I know this isn't related to your question, but I mean, aren't there treaties that we could do? Don't we have a lot of leverage that don't involve tariffs, like unilateral tariffs to the executive branch?
Yeah. I mean, we do have other leverage, but it seems to me Trump's right that the playing field's not level, and that the trajectory we're on and the other things other presidents have tried to fix it hasn't worked. Those two things seem true to me. Doesn't mean that what he's doing is right, but it does mean he's doing something he said he would do, and he's doing something different than what's been done that's led us to this place.